All right, welcome on into the Falls Count Anywhere podcast. Charlie Turner, Chris DiCarlo, John Rustino, all here with you once again to bring you some wrestling talk on this Falls Count Anywhere podcast. And we'll be doing just that today as we have one of those interviews that, we want to just use that full 40 minutes, full hour or so to really get in deep with our guest today because there's plenty of wrestling history we can talk about. We love talking about classic wrestling and that sort of thing, guys. And as we're warming up here in the month of April, heading into the month of May, and now we're starting to thaw out here in Western New York. So good stuff ahead, guys. And absolutely, man. So, Chris, I know I want to give you the reins here as far as introducing our guest and giving him the proper intro. Go ahead, buddy.
Right. As we do, we are honored and privileged to have joining us today on our podcast, Falls Count Anywhere, across the country and world. He is a second-generation professional wrestler. He also was a quarterback from the University of Louisville and WCW, a short stint in the WWF, NWA TNA, which I personally love. Great career, a great guy, former four-time different local champion, Turnbuckle Championship and everything. AWA Superstars, the one and only, the great Mr. Erik Watts.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
How you doing? Thanks for joining us today, sir.
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me. I love that intro.
I think
that intro is awesome, guys, man. That's nice.
All right here.
No, I'm actually talking about the artwork and everything to the intro to your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, that was awesome.
Oh.
That was awesome.
Thank
Not
you.
bad for a free intro. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What are we doing, man? I gotta hire you guys.
That's John. Thanks to John as the producer here.
Yeah.
Please, I don't want to.
John's shy. He doesn't even have a last name.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Eric,
I should wear a mask. I would if I could.
just John. Yeah.
From parts unknown.
Yeah,
John. Parts unknown. Yeah.
definitely unknown.
That's right. Parts unknown.
Yeah.
2 more years, it'll just be J.
Yeah. A symbol. Yeah.
J for short.
Right. Well, at one point you had JR on the screen, and that just didn't work because there's only one JR, and it was
right.
That's true, brother. That's true. Now that's hitting home with me right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that one. That's one of my questions for you, sir.
Well, Erik, man. I mean, first and foremost, I guess I want to ask you the you got behind you there, the Mid-South banner. Am I out there, John? Am I coming through okay?
There's a little freeze every once in a while, but you're good.
Yeah, you're kind of freezing up.
Okay, yeah, I just want to ask you about the Mid-South banner behind you there. Are you currently running a wrestling promo out of Mid-South there?
No. Okay, let me not try to sound too conceited. I do my best to try to give back to what I love, and that's pro wrestling, right? I mean, it fed me as a child. It's fed my children. It's in my blood. And so I try to give back. And one way is I just don't have the time to get out to do too many autograph sessions. So I'll take on maybe 1 or 2 a year. And then podcasts, I try to give back, and I try to do, maybe one a month, maybe 2 a month. But sometimes I'll have people that are close to me say, hey, pick some podcasts, let's do it. And I do not know exactly what happened this week, but I had 2 people that I've done prior podcasts with, and they were just really, really incredibly sweet people. 3. And all 3 of them asked me to do podcasts this week. and so one guy is out of England that I just got off that podcast with. And he used to cover just WWE and AEW and that. And so 2 years ago, he felt like the writing was getting dry. So this dude looks out going, because he'd watched All Japan, he'd watched AAA, he'd watched these federations. He's like, I got to find something. He searched pro wrestling and he put in cult followings. And so he put in all this stuff and he found this company called Mid-South Sports. Now to us, we're like, okay, we know it, right? But to someone in England that's got Catch and Japan and all these different federations coming over there. So he literally found Mid-South and Universal Wrestling, and he has done a 1-week podcast. And what he does is he promotes the episode. The fans watch it. And then he comes in and he gives his take and how he feels about it with him and another guy. It's been going straight for 2 years. He's on 4 continents now, but they're getting towards the end of the footage of the UWF footage. So for giggles, I actually have done 3 episodes in the 2 years with him, one by myself, and I actually got my father to get on for about 10 minutes on one of the episodes, and it went berserk. And so he asked me, because they're coming to the end, could I do it? And for just giggles, I found the Mid-South logo, right? And so I just got off that, which was on Zoom, but I don't know how that showed up. So there we are. That's the long story to why that says that.
Well,
Okay.
I know it all.
I was wondering what was going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So not a federation. I get asked all the time. I and I love wrestling. I don't really even watch it hardly anymore because I love it so much. It drives me crazy because I've been in the wrestling. I've been, I put up rings. I sold T-shirts. We did music. We did lights. We did all facets. Then wrestling. Then even through wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling. I promoted Georgia Championship Wrestling back when it was here for 2 years. I did the TV production for it while I was at TNA, and did it and ran it. So, that creative juice, all that stuff gets going, and you get excited about it. It's almost more torture to watch it than anything because I want to jump in it. Now that my kids, my daughter's going into her last year of college, I've thought about maybe picking up the phone and calling Con or McMahon and seeing if I could contribute in some way. And then I start laughing, going, well, what am I going to say? Yeah, but what am I going to say? Hey, guys, I'd love to do something with you. What do you know about what's going on? Not shit. I haven't seen it in like 2 years. Yeah, so I might need to start watching it, But yeah, but other than that, man, it's all family and growing my own businesses and but taking the time to give back as well.
Right. Well, I definitely want to send a shout out and a thank you
awesome.
to your daughter in the military you mentioned, and also our good friend in South Carolina, Mr. Tim Smith, and also Mr. Brian Ferguson. We thank and appreciate all our military people out there. Absolutely.
Amen to that, brother. If you guys ever get a chance, man, check her out. If you guys get ESPN Plus, she'll be a senior and she started this will be her 4th year straight next year. Her name's Sydney Watts, number 34, and she's a 6'1" guard, man. And,
oh, wow.
and she's a beast. The team was not that great last year, but the year before they sent one to the WNBA. But those girls, it doesn't matter. They're lifers, right? And they're there for more than basketball, but they are competitive. So, and then they had 4 girls, I think, blow knees out within the first 10 games. Wow. So this year we hope for a healthy those girls and then a new recruiting class. But yeah, so if you get a chance, man, Sydney Watts, she's pretty talented, guys. she must have got all that from her mom, I guess.
I don't think, yeah.
No, come on.
And she's good looking too. So that yeah.
Well, I definitely am a supporter of your WCW career and your NWA TNA. I mean, I brag about you all the time. I think you're just great, sir.
Man, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that, brother.
And of course, my classic footage library just.
I'll tell you what, Erik.
What's that?
Absolutely, man. And Erik, since we're talking about your career, I wanted to touch on one thing here. Going through your bio, I found this, and I'm sure you haven't, but you're in the WWF, the Techno Team 2000. I got to ask, who came up with that idea? Yeah, there they go. Who came up with that idea? What happened there, I guess, is my question.
Let me start with 2 words, not me. Man, people ask me questions, and it's so hard to answer it under 9 hours. So let me try to give the Cliff Notes. Chad Fortune was the tight end at Louisville when I was a quarterback. He went pro. I think he got drafted by Indianapolis, low rounds. Then he went from Indianapolis to Miami. As a matter of fact, my mom and brother were living in Miami at the time, and he lived with my mom and brother as he was with the Dolphins. Then he was with the Cowboys, and then out of the league. His mom called me up because he's from outside of Chicago and said, Erik, all this kid knows is sports, and he's basically taking all his money that he made, which was not a whole bunch in the pros, not making not sticking with teams, right? And 6th round draft, what I'm saying? I mean, what do you get? 20, 30,000 signing and some, the whatever. And she goes, he's driving up to Gary, Indiana and gambling it all away, right? So I was on the move anyway. And early in, I said, well, let me get him a training contract with WCW. So I got him a nice training contract, and he's training there. And so he's there for like 3 years. And that's another story. If you ask me the question, I'll go into it. So basically, he's now frustrated with WCW. Mm-hmm. I'm moving on, but I did not know this was going to happen. So I had called WWE and said, hey, I'm coming off contract. I would love to work with you. Well, I just thought that's kind of what you did. Like, hey, you're at WCW, you're on TV. Yeah. Of course we want you. And I did not know that that's not how it worked. Yeah. And so they're like, oh, you can try out. I go, because I'm an athlete, right? From football. I'm like, so you can't check on like a highlight reel? And they're like, we don't give a shit. I'm like, thank you. Right. So they're like, hey, in about 3 weeks, we're going to be in Augusta, Georgia. Would love for you to do like a dark match. I said, no problem. About that time, Chad comes home, and he had gone to Disney for WCW, and they'd finally promised him his debut. So they go out there. He has a debut match. Now, this is kind of wild. So his debut match was another friend of mine that I talked into getting into wrestling that I knew from high school, a guy named Bill Goldberg. So Goldberg is at the school, came much after Chad. So Chad's there. Well, they do a match, and they have Chad and Goldberg in a match at Disney, and they tape it as Chad Fortune's coming out match, in which he beats Goldberg. Now, here's the deal. Bischoff or someone. So Bischoff or someone goes, hey, I like it, but I want to do something different with your outfit or whatever the hell it was. And it pissed Chad off so bad. He's like, after 3 years or 2 years, I'm like, yeah, but all the money and you're staying with me for free, and you're gambling your life away. I'm trying to talk him off a cliff. And I said, you know what? I'm so tired of this.
Right.
I said, I'll just call Vince and I'll see if you can try out too. So I called to call Vince, and Jim Ross calls me back. And Jim's like an uncle, right, to me.
Oh, cool.
And he always started Mid-South, right? Every day when I come home from school, I'd stop by and say hi to Dad, and there's Jim Ross, and there's my dad, and all this other stuff, right? Jim used to do refereeing like football games and baseball games and stuff like that. So Jim calls and goes, Erik, what do you want to do again? I said, well, I'll just bring Chad up and we'll do a tag match, and we'll both try out, because that's not how it works. I'm like, okay, well, tell me how it works. He goes, well, I would go ahead and advise you not to do that. How many matches does Chad have? I go, a whole bunch at the school for the last 2 or 3 years. He's like, well, how much like live? I go, I think he wrestles at a bar. I think he wrestles at a bar a few times a year. And he's like, yeah, that's not a good idea. I said, listen, he's my best friend, and he's like, okay, well, you know what? I'll have you guys as a tag, but this is what I meant to tell you. If if you guys make it, you make it. I said, okay. He goes, but if you guys don't make it, you don't make it. I go, well, of course. He goes, no, but what I'm saying is, even if we like you, if we don't like him, we're not going to take you. I go, oh, that's different. I'm thinking we're, 4 guys in a ring. You can tell, So, yeah, they threw the gauntlet down. But at that time, I'm dealing with this, this monster at home that's never done anything in pro wrestling. I built a monster. So I come back and I said, okay, well, here's the good news, bad news. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, I got another problem because here's my contract from WCW to train. So I took it to my lawyer and I'm looking at it. I'm like, do you see that clause? They didn't tighten this contract up. So I found a way to beat his WCW training contract, which I did not know the effect of that. So we beat his, meaning not beat, we just went and tried out and then told WCW, see you later. So I go down to this. Now I'm at the WCW power plant showing up. I'm like, dude, I don't even know how good you are. I mean, I've seen you work and you're a great athlete, so I think you could be okay, but I haven't really seen you in front of stage. So I came up with this idea. We're both 6'5". We're both 280, 290. I came up with the idea, and we both have these great vertical jumps. I said, I'm going to do a whole bunch of double leapfrogs and double hip tosses. And I came up with a move where I threw the person, and you've seen it in AAA where he runs. Well, I'm taking a 300-pound and catapulting him to splash people. I'm doing reverse sunset flips off the top rope. I wanted to take 2 6'6" guys and wrestle as though we were luchadors, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I said, Chad, so here's the deal with WWE. I'm going to come up with 4 or 5 moves that they've never seen 2 guys do, and we'll just do it. They're not going to give us more than like 8 minutes anyway. And, of course, they give us the 2 greatest guys you could have, Brooklyn Brawler and Barry Horowitz. Those guys could dance with a broomstick, right? And so we go and we cut off our football pants, right? Come out like our Louisville jackets. And Vince was there. And literally we had the match. And by the time we walked back through, Vince pulls me aside. Son, come here. And he goes, here's your contracts. Sign them now. Start tomorrow.
Wow.
And I go, sir, I appreciate you, a lot and respect you. I said, but I don't do anything without my lawyers looking at it. Now, Chad's sitting right by me going, we're going to WWE. We're going, it's like, we're going. And so he goes, I respect that, son. I know your dad very well, and I wouldn't expect anything else. He goes, but listen, could you have your lawyers look at it the next 2 or 3 days and let me know? He goes, because if I need to make any adjustments. So I said, yeah. So we were walking off, and Chad's like, what? You just told Vince McMahon that your lawyer, like he looked at me and goes, I don't even know you, man. WWF, at the time he goes, WWF. And I'm like, it's WWF, bro. Of course I want to go. I'm going to be in this game for a long time. I'm going to get there. He goes, but you're going to get me out of the WCW thing. I go, yeah. He goes, so you got a lawyer? I go, hell no, I'm not going to take it to my lawyer. Why would I do that? I said, I'll read it when I get home. And he goes, so if you have a problem with it, you're not going to sign? I said, I already know Vince isn't going to do anything. We're not the Undertaker, but I had to at least act like I was going to look at an agreement, right?
Right.
And a lot of people don't know. Back then in the day, I'd say 95% of your guys all had the same contract, and I already knew that. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Vince was very smart, and so he was mad a long time ago when people were talking about unionizing, and Hogan's the one that stood behind that. But I'm telling you, brother, not everyone, but 95% of the guys had the same contract. I think my contract I signed for 3 years, guaranteed me 3 days a year at $150 a day. So I had a $450 contract for 3 years.
Wow.
And that was his way, because if you wanted to act up, you wanted to be stupid, sit at home. And then if your marketing happens, if you stay home long enough, your marketing stuff is going to drop off as you drop off TV. And let me tell you one worse. They don't put a T-shirt or a doll out if you don't wrestle for at least 2 years there back in the day. So he's got 2 years that if he cuts you, all you're making anyway is appearances or wrestling fees.
Oh,
So
wow.
So the day he sends you home for an attitude adjustment, that week your check is zero. So he's a brilliant guy, so he had you in line. Now, listen, guys. I mean, my first match up there, Vince was so excited about us. He brought us up to Boston Garden because they were taking so long making those outfits, and brought us up to Madison Square Garden and Boston Garden. Matter of fact, Madison Square Garden, our first match, not as our gimmicks, but as us, because Vince was so excited about us, was the same night when Kevin Nash, Kevin, Razor, Hunter all hugged.
Oh, the curtain.
Yeah.
That was that night.
Yeah.
That was that night. And I was sitting there at the curtain. Vince was right next to me. And I saw him go, what the I mean, I was like, I could not believe it. But listen, guys, at WWE, you got paid where you're at, the time of the match, plus the ref gets paid. Do you have a title belt? Do you have this? There's all this economics to it. And I think that night we wrestled like a 6-minute match. And I think I got paid $1,000 that night, and I got paid $800 the next night at Boston Garden. So I made 1,800 bones for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and you just wanted to fly first class up back. It was great. So why I'm trying to tell you this is, when you get there, they were not going to let me keep my name.
Wow.
I came as Erik Watts.
Yeah.
And so they had to come up with something. I will admit to you, that point, I love it because, listen, I graduated my first degree in 3 years, graduated from business school. I'm business made, just entrepreneur, the whole thing. So I knew all the trends. And so it cracked me up because they had decided that they found a person in New York, a lady that was famous for making women's designer clothes. And they wanted to go outside their market and bring in like a fashion designer to make an outfit. Are you getting the gist of where we're going on this?
Right.
Yeah.
So now we show up, and then, when I tell you, every time they flew us to New York, it was first class, limos. We would go to a meeting in New York. We'd be there for 8 hours, drive us straight back to the airport. I mean, I'm thinking, how much are you spending? Music samples. We're not going to WWE, brother. We're the first crew that they're going to do something new with. So they have sketches of colored pencil sketches of our outfits and no names, just outfits, and I'm looking at it, and then the lady's like, and we're gonna zip it down from up here. I'm like what? Oh, it's the fashion, and I'm thinking we're gonna look like freaking microwave popcorn, right? And so this goes on for like 4 months. They fly us to the best bootmaker in Texas.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing. So Vince can't take it anymore. We gotta rush it. We gotta get these guys on TV. So the first day we show up at TV, and we're gonna have heat. Everyone has heat, right? Especially Erik Watts. And who's this Chad Fortune guy? Who do they think they are, right? So but so when we go to WWE, the way I came in, I even asked. I said, "Listen, make me a job guy. I don't care." I said, I'm done at WCW. I said, I know the evolution. I got to get some experience. I'm not only going to be here. I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to go to Germany. Guys, I jumped in this because I pulled myself out of the draft of football, and I was just for the hell of it done with football because I couldn't take it anymore. And I'd already talked to Georgia Pacific about a job in Atlanta because my fiance at that time, my wife's dad, was the vice president of Georgia Pacific. I was going to go there, and all I wanted to do was, because I was told as a kid that I could not step in the ring. I could do everything from putting up the rings and doing the lights and security, that I couldn't get in the ring before I graduated because my mom wanted to break the mold of second and third generation people jumping in the wrestling at 14, 15 years old, and then something happens to them, they have nothing to fall back on. So all I did was said, hey, I just want to go get in a ring for a second. And Jody Hamilton, a friend of my dad, said, hey, you can come down here. And so all I did, guys, I had 3 more classes to finish my master's, and I had about 3 weeks off, and I was going to start my summer classes, and I was going to do one of my classes was available because when you get in your master's, your thesis class, even if you got it, a lot of times that thesis class would fill up before you could get it, right? So that's the only reason I didn't finish those 9 hours. So I was going to hit my other 2, and then I was going to have a thesis class. My fiance had another semester left in hers anyway, and I was going to chill, and then I was going to go. So I go down there and work out 21 days straight. Sarge, unbelievably brutal. Jody Hamilton, the whole thing. And I'm driving back, and then they asked me hey, would you wrestle at Chattanooga? I said, I don't know enough to wrestle. They're like, no, it's okay. We'll put you in the ring with Sarge just to mess around. I said, sure, I'll do it. But I have nothing to wear. They go, who cares? Just wear something. So I'm like, that makes sense. So I go in there, don't even remember what happened in the match. I walk in. There's Rick Steiner, that I've known since 14. He laughed. He goes, what are you doing here? I said, to wrestle. He goes, no, you're not. I said, oh. I said, I thought it was. Dusty Rhodes told me to come. He goes, no, I'm sure he told you. He goes, you're not dressing in here. Marks don't get dressed. I'm like, great.
Oh, man. So he's being a little harsh. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, out of all the guys, right? There's Sting that knows me. It's the guys that know me that want to beat me up, So I go, so where would you like me to get dressed? He goes, well, all the marks get dressed in the concession stand.
Oh, man.
Well, I was the only mark that night. So I'm getting my towel and I'm getting dressed with hot buttered popcorn and old ladies. It was awesome. Yeah. So I do that Chattanooga. Dusty says, hey, would you like to rerun it? You got to be at Louisville. This is a Friday night. You got to be in Louisville on Monday for your class. I said, yeah, let's rerun it. I think it was Nashville. After that, he goes, hey, run it again, which was perfect because I said I didn't remember anything the first match, the audience or nothing. The second one, I took it all in. Third one. But so he calls me and he said, son, you did good, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving you the short of it. And I said, yeah, man. I said, listen, if you guys will allow, I would like to train when I get back to Atlanta, when I go to work for Georgia Pacific. He goes, well, how was the match? I go, I played football in Tokyo. We beat Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. My first college start was against Ohio State in the shoe.
Oh, wow.
And sold out. I said, I've been on some big stages, brother. I said, but I've never felt anything like that. And he goes, let me explain something. Nothing in life, nothing outside of the planet Earth, even if you go to the moon, nor any drug will fix you. You're screwed. Sir, you're screwed. I said, well, so what do you want me to do about it? He goes, you're not going to college. Call your fiance and say you're not coming back to Louisville. I need you back here to sign an agreement. You're going to have your 4th match ever after 21 days of training on WCW Saturday night.
Sweet. Yeah.
Okay. So that's how that happens.
Yeah.
That's how fast it happens. Now fast forward, and I'm at WWE, so I'm saying to them, please, people, I'm not expecting anything. No push, no nothing. Make me a job guy. I don't give a shit. I'm here to learn and show you and earn my spot.
Yeah.
So now I show up at TV, and I said, Chad, I don't care if we ever win a match. That's it. This is paying our dues. So we came up there as that. Out comes the outfits. Then they tell us to put some paint on our face.
Yeah.
That was a shit show.
Yeah.
The that was hilarious. We were doing it. All the guys were laughing. Jerry Lawler came in and laughed at me so bad. I wanted to just do whatever I could. He goes, Erik, I love you. You've got so much heat, but somehow you have found a way to magnify it. Because I won't have to go to a tanning salon forever. You're a solar panel, son. That always made me really happy. And so we're doing this, and then Chad goes to zip his boots on, and this famous boot maker, somehow they were zip-up boots, which I've never had. I always had the lace.
Wow.
The calf part he put on backwards.
Oh.
So now he cannot zip up his boots. So now they've got electric tape going on the boots. We're both 6'6". They make my pants down to my ankles. They make his to his thighs somehow. So then we got the accordion knee pads on, thank God, because it covered the fact that the pants didn't go down far enough.
Oh, what a mess.
Lawler is getting all of this in, commentating as we're getting dressed. So then a production guy comes and goes, guys, your match is coming up pretty soon. And they go, how do you guys want to be introduced? Go, we don't even know our names. They go, Troy and Travis Techno Team 2000. I said, okay, listen to me. I've been out of Oklahoma for quite some time, but I did play football in Louisville. I sound a little bit redneckish. So you guys came up with the idea, hey, there's Erik Watts, Cowboy Bill Watts' son.
Right, yeah.
We're going to make him a techno guy.
Yeah.
So
that just doesn't work, yeah.
But see, what I was telling you, though, I knew it hit me. I'm like, oh, they just got the most recent marketing study. And the marketing study was telling like McDonald's and all these people have things that rhyme. So if you think about it, there's Troy and Travis Techno. There's whatever, Flip and Dip, the Body Donnas. There was what were the Smoking Guns guys' names?
Billy and Bart. Yeah.
Billy and Bart, the Smoking.
Yeah.
So Sonny and Skip. Yeah, everything. So we cannot take one marketing study and apply it to one group. We're just going to push everybody out of that era. Bob Holly, Bob and whatever Holly, right? So it was so funny because now the guy's back there goes, okay, that's your names. So who's Troy and who's Travis? And he was so stupid. I flipped
man.
coin would go, okay, I go, okay. Heads, I'm Troy. I can't remember what we did. We flipped some bullshit, and I was Troy and he was Travis, and that's how that happened. And they go, so when you come out, when your music hits, I go, we have music. So we never even heard the music, bro. So we went out there and we go do our thing, and we come back through, and Vince is just on cloud nine. He's like unbelievable, so. He was so excited, and he goes, Erik, that you jump up, not looking, and you jump turning, and you spin in the air to do a sunset. You're 6'6", 295 pounds. Your dad could never do that. I go, my dad never needed to. He just beat people's asses.
Right.
I'm trying to compensate, sir. I'm trying to learn this thing called pro wrestling here, and not everyone's trying to help. So yeah, that's
pretty wild. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, well, because I remember, I do remember the when you guys came out on WWF TV, and it was like, whoa, okay, it's a little different. And back then you're talking about the mid '90s, so we didn't know what to expect in the 2000s yet. We were expecting like flying cars and moving sidewalks and shit. You know what I mean? So that never happened either. So that's why maybe the silver outfits and the futuristic look. But Erik, one person you mentioned that I wanted to ask you about specifically was Dusty Rhodes, and I know you were part of his Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling as well. Cody Rhodes has been, he was in the main event at WrestleMania. He's trying to win the first title for the Rhodes family in WWE. But your experience with Dusty, and what was he like, the legendary Dusty Rhodes?
Man, listen, great question. Do we have 10 hours?
Yeah.
Dusty, so when I came into Atlanta, right, so my dad was at WCW. And so as soon as I signed my agreement, we made my agreement completely different from everyone else. So because I knew that was going to happen. So I worked in an incentive clause in which I got paid X number of dollars. And then any month that I wrestled over 23 matches, I got $500 a match bonus. So, but I made my guarantee very low compared to everyone else. And that I made, let me, I don't want to overstep. My father and I talked about it, and I wanted it just brutally low so no one could sit there and say gossip and he's getting a handout and all this other stuff, right? Because back then, everyone was on the same contract. Your first year, you got paid $175. Your next year, you got paid $250. Your next year, you got $325. I'm going to tell you exactly what my contract is. My first year, I'm not going to go into my second and third. My first year, I being a businessman, I negotiated a phenomenal contract of $68,000.
Okay, yeah.
Now that I say that, I don't even know if I like 6s or 8s, and I'm not exactly sure how we backed into that because that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. But
Kind of a random number, yeah.
here was the idea of the psychology. I wanted it to a point in which it would not make sense for them not to book me on every show. Because I want to say this, I do test out very high. My daughter is one of the most decorated athletes ever, grade point average and all this other stuff going to the academy. So let me tell you how this works. I knew the heat. I knew it was going to happen, and I didn't give a shit because those people can't tell me what has been my life and where my life is going.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are judging me have never even spent the time in the wrestling world that I have as a child all the way up. If you ever heard anything about Cowboy Bill Watts, times 1,000, and that's him as a father. He wasn't the best father, but he was one of the greatest business people in the world. And if you thought he was rough on the athletes, even Steve Dr. Death Williams said, there is not anyone tougher in the locker room than you kids, because
Wow.
I've never seen anything like it. And I'm not mad about it because it was our normal. Our normal is like, yeah, I'm good, you know? So why I'm telling you all that, I knew, bro. I knew, well, I kind of know. You don't know the fire until you're in the fire. Let's just say that. You know it's hot. You know? So, but what I was trying to do prior was set this up that they, from a budget standpoint, because this is – everyone else at WCW go, oh, look, I only have 15 matches this month. Ha ha, I got 12. And they got all these people, Van Hammer and Johnny B. Bad, and all. And I'm like, how are you going to learn? I don't give a shit, bro. I'm going to tan. I'm going to get my body better. You know, I'm like, well, God bless. And I would pull out mine 23, 25, 28 days a month. My first year, I think I did 305 matches.
Wow.
My first year. How am I supposed to be second generation, college quarterback, boompity, boomp, and I'm going to sit here and do all I can with the heat I got? I don't want to disgrace wrestling that bad because the idiots that want to take the time to tear me down don't understand what they're doing is they're tearing down our business. I don't need a handout, brother. You should be going just like I do at college in basketball, football, amateur wrestling. You take what you consider the weakest link and you strengthen that because that is as good as your team is going to be.
Yeah.
Not in pro wrestling, right? And so those are the things that were mind-boggling to me. However, that attitude, as weird as it was quite different at WWE. Because at WWE, they may hate you and they may knife you and they may get rid of you. But while you're on the road, they want the best from you because we all got paid on percentages of a house and stuff. So it was put it this way, WCW was like, I don't know what you want to call it, redneck mafia. That was the Italian Gottis up there.
You're right.
It was like, I'm going to kill you and you'll never know it. I'll be your best friend. you know, kiss Undertaker's ring, you know.
Right, yeah.
And but brother, because I've been around it, hey, when in Rome do as Romans do. I'm not gonna hate the Romans. Look, the way the industry is in life. In your all's life is, are you going to take the time to bitch about the circumstances, or are you going to take the circumstances and manipulate them and get the best out of it because of the freaking circumstances? Until you own your own company, brother, shut up and get up and do it.
Right. We only live once, one day at a time.
Right. I see Antonio Brown is now bought into some, arena league football, and he just came out with like an epiphany. I was such a jerk, but now as an owner, I kind of see their point. Yeah, you idiot.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you person.
Different perspective.
Stupid person. Hey, just how crazy is that? Well, I was raised from a guy that owned the federation, that was the wrestler, that understood injuries, and he also understood if asses weren't in the seats, how much it cost.
Yeah.
Right? So you know, I wanted to put myself in a position in where you know what, I don't know about that kid booking. Everyone else gets 68,000 a match. This idiot, let's kill him. You know. It did. And it worked, and it hurt, and it was a lot, but that's one of the reasons why after I was at WWE and some political things happened, you know, literally from what I understand, I'm the only person in WWE history at the time that I called Vince and said, I want out of my agreement. And he goes, no. He goes, let me send you a new one. You're going to love it. And I go, well, you promised me if I was ever unhappy, I could leave. And he goes, I understand you're unhappy and you have every reason why. He says, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you your release and you can sign it, but I'm going to send you an agreement. But I promise you, you need to read the agreement first. I'm getting rid of your partner, which he did. And even then I said, well, this is what you need to do for him. And he did it, which was incredible.
Oh, nice.
Which was really good. And I saw the agreement and I saw what he gave me. And it makes me a little bit sick right now because I was like, damn, I should never have read that. But I had to sign the release.
Yeah.
Because I'd already been on the shelf for like 8 months, 9 months, a year. Okay, I don't care what you do. You can go to the school and you can practice all your little heart wants. But I can't go wrestle for an indie. WWE doesn't want it. I can't go to Japan and Germany. WWE. So me in my third year of pro wrestling where I'm trying to catch – Dustin Rhodes had been reffing at 12, 13, you know, Barry freaking Windham, you know. I mean, I got Shake and Spear over here busting ass, and I'm sort of trying to I'm on a wrestling etch-a-sketch. How does this work, you know? And I'm competitive, so I'm like, hey, you guys are pretty good for old guys that have been wrestling for 20 years, and now you're 30 years old. I'm just now breaking in at 24, but I'm going to be much better than you in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, or why else do what you're going to do, right? I didn't come to be Bill Watts. I came to be bigger than Bill Watts. I loved Hulk Hogan. I just wondered how he was going to feel when he was second in wrestling compared to me. You know,
that's the right attitude to have. Absolutely. That's what you got to think, right?
I went to college to be a Heisman Trophy winner. It didn't happen, but I never stopped shooting. So you know, my what I learned a long time ago is, brother, here's the difference. I'm going to shoot for the stars. You shoot for the trees.
There you go.
If you miss, where do you hit? If I fucking miss, I'm up in the mountains, brother. I'm shooting for the stars. The highest you're getting is that 20 or 30 foot tree.
Right.
You know? But we're not even on the same. We're not even on the same level. You know, we're not going to, and not from cocky. This is, as you guys see, the education in sports and how you apply it. So, man, guys, that was I mean, that's where I'm at. That at that time that you guys have brought me up to. That's what I'm going through. And it was so stupid. Like when I signed, there was so much jealousy. When I went to Louisville, I had everything I wanted, right? Full ride, full this, full that. My dad came to visit and watch a spring game. Not spring game, the first summer I was up there. I'm not saying, but a gentleman came up to him that I heard owned a dealership, and my dad decided that he wanted to trade my car in that I loved because I was not into material. So I dug the car I had, bro. He did this to me before. I got the hand-me-down, my brother. I loved it. My dad saw a car, said, I want you in it. I said, I don't. I like this car. It drives. Shut up. If you don't let me buy this car, I'll never buy you a thing again. I'm like, okay, this is good. So I made him mad.
Yeah.
No, I made him mad. So my mom says, listen, this anger comes home. I go, so what do you want me to do? She goes, take the effing car. I go, but I don't want it. She goes, shut up. I go, yes, ma'am. Boom. So I get the car. So now I'm up here with a car that's only now 2 years old, and I'm happy as a dog with, you know, whatever. And I'm sitting there, and the next thing I know, my dad pulls up and in a red Porsche. Well, I'm at the University of Louisville, cardinal red, and then it's got a UL tag on the front of it, and it's got a dealer tag on the back. And he said, hey, he goes, hey, things are good up here in Louisville. I go, great. Whose car is that? He goes, that's yours. I go, I tried to piss him off. I go, Dad, that's a 944. He goes, it's beautiful. And it was damn near free. I go, where's my car? I want it. And he goes, it's been traded in. I go, you traded in that car and you got this for damn near free? He goes, yeah. What do you think? I go, it's not a turbo. Oh, I went for the juggler. He goes,
yeah.
He goes, okay, I'll just go get your car back, you unthankful. I said, yes, sir, thank you. Because I just didn't want the heat.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we're doing 3 days. That was at the second one. For the night practice, here comes the turbo. I'm like, ah. So here's the deal. I got that in 1987. Wow. My freshman year, I got a 944 turbo Porsche. Now here's the shit. People were so mad at me. The dirt sheets and the guys in the back said that I had negotiated a 7-figure contract a year and that I demanded as a signing bonus a Porsche. Now, this is in the locker room.
Right.
My dad got so mad, he took my contract and posted it in the locker room.
Oh, wow.
And then I turned around and Sting goes, baby, listen, I didn't know that contract's horrible. He goes, and that's embarrassing for you. He goes, but I know what you're doing. I know what your family's doing. You're trying to get as many days. He goes, but the Porsche, Erik. I go, Steve, this is 1992, bro. He goes, yeah. I go, that Porsche's in 1987. I said, what person says, hey, Ted Turner, this is what I demand. I want a $1 million a year contract, and can you find me a 5-year-old Porsche? but the heat was so immense that these people, these simple-minded people, which should have been just worried about themselves, because listen, I had heat from people that couldn't buckle their shoes. It was just the in thing to hate my ass, and which was funny because when I got there, me and Dustin have known each other forever. I'm like, Dustin, and they put me in a thing with Barry and Dustin and all that. And Dustin goes, Erik, because he came on a recruiting trip to Louisville on football. But the coach brought him in, but they didn't offer him a scholarship. So he was upset, which he shouldn't have been upset, whatever, right? So I was like, hey, haven't seen you since your recruiting trip 4 years ago. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm like, yes. Barry and Dustin, at least I've got a safe haven. And he hugged me. He goes, finally, someone to take the heat off me.
Oh, wow. Well, Erik, my question is to you, and I wonder if it's froze there.
Oh, sorry. That might have been my fault. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, okay. I see John, but it looks like I froze.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Anyway, Erik, I wanted to know, there we go. WCW, your run there, in my opinion, you should have been a TV champion. You should have been a U.S. champion. Was it Eric Bischoff? What happened?
That was, oh man, what a weird day, right? So my dad's gone. Ole Anderson, I think, comes in and takes over. But so he takes over for a short period. Then there was a thought that Dusty was going to take over. So Ole, in all his wisdom, is really weird. He calls me in the office and says, hey, son, your dad's gone. I'm here. I'm going to take care of you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you off the road for a while so you don't have to deal with the heat. I go, bro, no one can add heat on me compared to what I've done. I said, my dad's gone. What heat are they going to give me? I mean, realistically, I've already had the run-in with Rude, and I've had run-in with people, and people may be talking behind my back. They're not saying shit to my face.
Right.
So, in the kayfabe sheets, the only thing I'm mad at Meltzer about is he never gave me any royalties, and I outsold everyone for 2 years with him. I even saw him in autograph session. I said, "You're an idiot. You should pay me." So anyway, so there's that little quandary, right? Well, Bischoff gets the go. Well, me, I never stopped. I'm at the school every day. I got keys, so I could go 7 days a week. Bischoff calls a meeting, and I think we were in Macon, Georgia, to announce that he's the new man. And I was like, oh God, because Bischoff hated my father. Like he hated, and it's weird because I'm not saying they would like each other per se. My dad didn't dislike Eric Bischoff. Now my dad quotes factual financial facts of where the business went with Bischoff's reign. Okay, that's different. Bischoff hated my father because my father, when my dad came in, Bischoff was already there. And I think Bischoff came in with some ideas. And my father said, color commentary is not talent. I don't need to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the same way he was raised at AWA with Gagne.
Right.
That's the way Jim Ross was raised and broken in. You are to be heard on TV only and shut up and get coffee for the guys in the back. So I don't necessarily understand why it was so offensive. You know, Gordon Soley wouldn't be mad about it. You know, I mean, there's so many people that thank my dad and the Grahams and Gagnes for making it right. And I think one of the problems with a lot of the commentating is that these guys became a character, and then now they're talking shit. And like my dad always said, you know, I remember when he was teaching Jim, he said, Jim, this is what I need you to do. And he would cover the TV. And Jim's like, what are you doing? He goes, let's talk about your commentating. He goes, well, okay, well, but how will I know? I need to watch the show. He goes, no, you don't. And Jim's like, what do you mean? He goes, back in the early 90s, you know, people listen to baseball on the radio. And Jim's like, okay. He goes, that was true announcing. They made you feel at the ballpark, the wind, the rain, the political atmosphere, the economic atmosphere, where this guy played. Did he was he good at Monopoly or Tiddlywinks? Did he do a pogos? He's like, tell that story, brother. Who cares? And man, dude, I can't even tell you right now. Alligator skin, chill bumps, bro. It takes me right back. And man, Jim sucked it up, man. And Jim was brutalized. A lot of the people that work for my dad were brutalized because that's the way my dad broke people in, just like in sports and everything. Yeah. And Jim got it. Like to this day, brother, listen to Jim Ross. It is about the athlete, the athlete, the athlete. And what scares me is none of these idiots get it. And they go, well, Jim, you know, he makes his own way and he makes so much money and there's only one Jim Ross. Okay, there's two ways to look at that. There is two ways.
Right.
What you're saying is Jim Ross gets it and everyone doesn't. Instead, they're like, you know, well, once he's gone, it'll be the same. You're an idiot. So, and not to be mean, but you know, that's the way it is. So, you know, you got Jim Ross and you got the way, you know, that Bill Watts did this. And so Eric Bischoff comes in and I'm going, oh, this is going to be an ugly meeting. So now I've been off the road. Now I get called to this meeting that's a TV. And I'm like, this is the perfect time for Eric Bischoff to just fire me in front of everyone. It'd get him a pop. It would get a pop, right?
Yeah. Right.
I'm sitting there, and he goes, everything's going to change. I'm here. Don't need to talk about how I felt about the people before me. I'm talking about me, what we're going to do, how I see things. And you guys got a friend. You know, I'm a commentator, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a former pro wrestler, you know. I mean, so he's making it, you know. He goes, and I'm going to explain something else. He said, do you see that man right over there? He points at me. He goes, Eric Watts. I go, here it comes. Here it comes, baby. You know, I'm like, okay, Babe Ruth, I'm going to give you a slow one. Hi, just go ahead and knock me on out. You know? He goes, I watch these charts every day at the school. He brings film on the road every time. He did that from college. DDP brings film now every day. Erik takes film to the school. He's got a key. He's there not Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursday, Friday, not from open to close. He's there Saturdays and Sundays when none of you even show up during the week. He goes, that is the prototype that is everything we want. And that man is going to be so successful, and I'm going to make sure it happens. And then 3 weeks later, he fired me.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Crazy.
Yeah.
I say 3 weeks. I don't know, but I'll tell you something I learned is you got paid every 2 weeks there. And here, okay, no, let me give you this. You get paid every 2 weeks. And if you do not renegotiate your contract and they pay you into a new contract, your contract's good for the same as the last term. So I had 2 years. I got paid not one pay period. I got paid a full month into my contract. They pulled the funds out of my account, which I don't know how that happens.
Wow.
And said, we're sorry, it was an accounting error, and sent me a release. And I go, wow. Per my lawyer, so it put me in a situation. At that time, I was going to take them and with what I know and who I know, I was actually going to hit them with everything. I was going to hit that we weren't independent contractors. Because there's like 12 steps to being an independent contractor. And so, so they can't tell you what to wear. They can't tell you where to be. They can't tell you what time to be. There's all, which that's all they do.
Yeah.
That's the difference between being an independent contractor, right? So I was going to do it. And then I started getting ready, and I was going to make it was going to put a ripple through the whole industry, because I was going for health insurance, 401ks, stock splits, of TBS, WW. I mean, this was going to go across, but I was always going to focus on WCW. And brother, man, I started learning the real big game. And the big game was I had all kinds of the top lawyers. And then when they would they go, this is what we got to do. We got to research and make sure that we're not affiliated with anything Ted Turner.
Oof, that's tough. Big umbrella, right?
Yeah. Because that covers CNN, Cartoon Network, TBS, the billboards, the radio station. So you get a lawyer, go, I got a conflict of interest. I finally got a team. And by that time, I really thought about it. And I didn't talk to my dad about this or anybody. I thought about it. I go, hold on. I'm going to win this. And then I'm done. Vince isn't going to hire me. Not because I did anything against Vince. Now I put a precedence that is going to affect him maybe. Right. Never coming back to WCW. And then, and so I'm at year 3 now or near year 4. And I'm like, no, I want to be one of the best pro wrestlers ever. I just shut up and, just put my nose back to the ground, and so, but I mean, you look back at life and go, you know what, should I? Now, I don't worry about that. I really don't, but I don't say should or shouldn't. I go, what if I did? That's what I say. Would it help people or not?
Who was like between Bischoff and McMahon, was one easier to deal with than the other? I feel like both are just are business first, and it's cutthroat, like you're talking about. Was one easier to talk to than the other, or were they both kind of similar with their business approach?
No. Night and day.
Wow.
Night and day. Bischoff was true to whoever he personally liked, and or whoever he had to like. Mm-hmm. So at WCW, there was maybe 3 guys that they were so stud when they negotiated, and Sting's the one that started it. They demanded that TBS hold their contract. So TBS, that made them an employee. Health insurance benefit, stock options, 401ks. But that also meant they were unhappy with WCW.
Yeah.
TBS had to pay them no matter what. So it was brilliant. So those guys that were signed by Bob Dew and Bill Shaw, the lawyers from TBS, and most people won't know that. I'm giving you guys the deep inside. Now, so those guys, they were kind of bulletproof, right? So whether Bish liked him or didn't like him, I'm not saying he liked him or didn't like him. I mean, hey, those carrots you were with no matter what, right? Yeah. But I'll tell you, DDP was presumably, and I believe, one of Eric Bischoff's best friends. Hell, they both, Dallas is getting there. He's becoming a wrestler. No one wanted him. He was too old. He didn't have he didn't live in a special crib,
Yeah.
Bishop didn't either. He was an announcer. Those two guys were actually neighbors.
I heard that.
Yeah, no, shoot neighbors. So they'd come home, talk to da-da-da, drink some beers. Hey, how you doing? See you later, right?
Yeah.
And as they both did this, they may not stay out and have some beers, but they kept the communication. But what was funny? Bischoff would even bust Dallas's ass, going, "Bro, man, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be. You'll never be a champ." And so to me, that's what makes that story even better. He took a good friend that was a good enough friend to tell him to his face he doesn't have what it takes.
Wow. Yeah.
And you know what that means to me? That's why Dallas to this day is one of my best and closest friends, because you know what? You don't tell me my altitude in life, brother. I determine my altitude by my attitude, and I'm going to go wherever I see I can go. And DDP took a friend that said you'll never make it and make him the champ several times, right? That's the true success stories. So to me, that's the stuff that I dig. That's the stuff that I love. Getting back to Dusty, right? I was working with Dusty. Well, guess who else is one of Dusty's projects? DDP. Right? So I'm there with Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty's like, "Hey, baby, would you come help some of these athletes? I'm gonna start a little independent so that I can give these guys, and I'm gonna start a training school, and I want to start promoting it and all that." And he goes, "This is what I need from you. There's days that you can. Could you drop by and do some training?" He goes, "I got trainers, Glacier, Ray Lloyd, shit. Me and my son used to meet Benoit and his kid down there, right? And we would get in there and teach and train. Shit. I went to train some of the students as one of the co-trainers. You know what I did the whole time when I was co-trainer to Benoit? I sat in the damn audience with everyone else, and I filmed it and asked him how he could help me with my wrestling matches.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, baby, listen to me. I'm not that stupid. There's no time to have pride. I got Chris Benoit, and he's like, "Erik, what I said?" He said, "You're taking up kind of the student's time." I go, "Yeah, I really am. I'm hungry, brother. Let's do this, right?"
Yeah.
So Dusty, I went on a lot of shows. Most of the time he would have me, wrestle him or a tag match, but it was great, right? Bullet Bob Armstrong or Barry Windham or, some of the old timers would come in and we'd have matches in these small towns. And it was fantastic. But we had a really different relationship, right? Dustin had a father-son relationship.
Right.
I had a kind of a father-son relationship in which he knew how my dad was all the time. So it's like he didn't give me shit. It's almost like he felt sorry for me. Mm-hmm. So Dream would kind of sit down as the happy dad.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what you need to do, brother. And I love you. And a matter of fact, let me say this. So I was at his school, and that's how I went to ECW for a while, because I wasn't going to go to ECW. I thought me and Paul Heyman got along well at WCW. He did some stupid crap, and my dad laughed. He's like, "Paul, you are the dumbest smart guy I know." and my dad told me a story, and then Paul told me a story. He said, "You are playing a game and on rental cars. And you are cheating us on rental cars. One, I can put you in prison, but I'm not. You're going to pay us back on the game you've been playing, and I'm going to fire you." He goes, "And what I hate about it is you've got one of the greatest business minds there are. So are you so bored with life that you've got so much to offer this industry that you do the one thing that no one can do to me, and that's either cheat me or steal from me, to put me in a position where I can't take advantage of where we could go?" Well, but at that time, Heyman just didn't understand it. And he hated it. I don't know if he still does now, but so me and Dream were there, and one day he's like, "Hey, I want to go down. The ECW's in town. I go, ECW's in town? I love watching that really late on Sunday nights or Saturday nights or whatever. I was
yeah.
I said, Mike, awesome. God, I love that dude, man. You know, and that Sandman dude. I love his intro. And
With
you
the beard, yeah.
you know, I'm marking out, right? I'm like, I'd like to go see those guys. And I said, but you know, Heyman, he doesn't want me around or whatever. And baby goes, it does that. Why you worried about me, you baby? When I come in, they ain't gonna see you. I'm like, oh. And so I was there. I wasn't even dressed, you know, like we were just talking, and I had some jeans and a Tommy Hilfiger like sweatshirt on. I'm like, okay, man. I said, he goes, no, I mean like now. He goes, I got a cooler of beers. Get us. So we jump in the truck. We're going right down the road, drinking Coors Lights, you know.
Yeah.
We get there, and I walk in, and it was crazy. Every one of these ECW guys were like, that's Erik Watts. That's Erik. Just, I mean, Dreamer and all these people like, Erik. I'm like, what the shit? Heyman comes and goes, what are you doing here? I'm thinking that he's getting ready to go off. He goes, I didn't know you were coming tonight. I'm like, and so me and Raven were tight. Raven's like, yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. You know, I'm like, yeah, I'm your boy now that it seems like people kind of like me, I guess.
Yeah.
You're talking about a whole bunch of outlaws. All these guys were told that they were messed up or they weren't going to make it on big so I'm out, you know, it's like an outlaw with outlaws, right? And it was hilarious. And so I've never met Dreamer in my life. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Dreamer comes up and goes, I can't believe you're here. He goes, is there any way you could like run into my match and like beat the shit out of me? I'm like, what did you say? He goes, Paul, can he? He goes, oh my God, Erik, I know you don't have your gear or nothing. I go, well, I always keep my gear. He goes, no, just like that. You know, yeah. Do something. Can you like just beat the shit out of him at the end of the show? I'm like, and the Dream's like, yeah, he beat the shit out of him. That's how this went down. And so Dreamer, I can't remember who he had, like a big match, you know, RVD or I don't know who. And he leaves him laying, and I scoop up in there and just whack him with a chair, split him open. And the crowd just goes ape crazy. I come back and the boys are popping bigger than anybody. And Paul's like, I gotta have you. You know, can you do the pay-per-view tomorrow night in Birmingham? I go, no. What are you talking about? You know, we gotta talk contracts. And he goes, no, whatever, you know, put it this way, whatever you need, whatever you want, we'll make it happen. Well, so I went to Birmingham the next night, and Dream was actually on the pay-per-view. You know, I can't remember what he was going to do. So me and Dream rode together, and we get there. Guys, when I tell you this, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm sitting there. I got my stuff. I'm sitting in the back. Who am I going to wrestle? What do you want me to wear? What do you want me to say? Am I going to wrestle? Am I going to do what you – and Heyman would go, hold on. Come back. Hold on. Dreamer, hold on. Raven, hold on. Sandman, hold on. What is going on? So eventually Dream goes, come here. And Heyman's there. He goes, you're not going to wrestle tonight, but we're going to pay you. I go, okay. He goes, Erik, I really don't know how to explain this to you. I'm having a problem with my top three guys, basically. I got Raven, I got Sandman, I got Dreamer. And they're basically having a fight because they want to be your first program. I'm like, hold on just a second. I'm coming from WCW, you know, like solar heat, you know, and all, you know. So I'm like, hey guys, whatever you want. So it got really kind of weird and all that other stuff. But man, you know, it was a great experience. And if you guys ever go on YouTube, he literally. Which was the coolest thing in the world because my favorite ECWs is when it was in that Philly, you know, with the balconies and stuff and all that. Yeah. So it went on for like a month and a half because we got it figured out. And so at this time, Ted DiBiase had gone and sold the idea of his own wrestling federation. And I can't remember what, WOW, I think it was.
Oh, the WXO or something like that?
WXO. So he calls me and says, hey, I want to bring you in. We got to do X number of weeks. We got to put it in the can, right? And then I'm going to take it to the new, you know, for sweeps week, and I'm going to sell it. Well, he went old school, and so we do the tapes, and he was going to have a tournament, I think, for the champ. And I'll be a son of a gun if he puts the belt on me.
Nice.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
He's like, Eric, I know what you've gone through. I know exactly who you are, and I've worked for your father, and so I know what it takes. I know you. And I was like, I was almost in tears. Like, dude, you don't have to do that. I mean, well, so that was before I went to center stage. Then I'm there. Well, Paulie goes. I said, Paul, I gotta be honest with you. I kind of committed to Ted. He goes, well, I'll talk to Ted. So Ted told him. He goes, hey, you can use Erik. He just can't ever lose. I did not know he said that. Right. Uh-huh. He goes, because how can I have an ECW if I get a deal and 3 weeks in he's our champ and he just lost to ECW? So Heyman's like, whatever. So something happened. I can't remember exactly what happened. And so they ended up bringing me in. It was in Philly. And I think, don't hold me to this, I could be totally wrong on this, but I think what ended up happening is I think right about then DiBiase had figured out that he didn't get the backing he needed to go full on. Yeah. But he was holding on. And I think that no, let's see. So it could have been the week before. So he brings me in. That's right. He brings me in. And legit, he goes old school. He's got someone picks me up from the airport. We drive. No one knows it. Puts me in the trunk. So none of the boys saw it. And I was told to just go in the ring with the other guy, Paulie's, the other manager, and just react to Paulie cutting an interview on me. But I went in there, and the other guy was whatever, dangerously or whatever, right? Yeah. And literally all I did that whole interview was walk around, put my hands on my hips, look, and dude, it was deafening. The place went absolutely bonkers. They completely hated me. Paulie cut like what seemed like a 5-hour promo on him, and it just got hotter and hot. I never wanted him to stop. I was marking out. I'm like, he is just destroying me and my family, and these people hate it. We're going to sell so many tickets, it's not even funny, right? Because I didn't take it personal. We're talking about selling tickets. Right. So I got back, and the same thing happened. Paulie goes, well, where do I go? So then when they found out that things were going wrong with him, Paulie actually called me and said, hey, I got to have you do it. And Spike Dudley, of course, beats everybody. He beat Stone Cold. He beat, I go, do you even freaking care? Think I care? He's like, well, what I'm going to do for you that I didn't do for anyone so that he doesn't actually beat you. He's going to come out and you're going to do something and he's going to pin you, but we never started the match. So, yes, he beats you. But he never beat you. I go, that is so stupid. He said, ring the bell, beat me. I'll get back up and he can beat me again. I've watched your show. He beats everybody, Yeah. And I think what the funny thing is, I think that I didn't know what I was doing at the time because it was just honest. I think that it just made me where people wanted to work with me more, I guess. Right. Yeah. Like, wow, how humble is this guy? And I stayed there, and the only thing that happened, man, is and this is the God's honest truth. I didn't know all the stories, and the majority of the talent wasn't getting paid, and that went for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I had explained to him. I said, hey, I can't do that, right? And so that's when a story came up. And I did not know this because no one told me. They said Mick Foley at one time, it had gone so long, he came with cash and paid everybody off one time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I didn't hear from Mick, and he's a great guy, but I heard it. And I'm like, wow. So I got to the point, well, now my checks aren't coming. But I'd already told him it really doesn't matter. If you don't catch these guys up, I'm not going to come to the next pay-per-view, and I won't be on TV.
Right.
So what ended up happening was he had this secretary call me. He goes, no, he understands. I said, no, I need my first class ticket. But you guys gotta understand, you have to wire me the money or I will not get on that plane. And this was 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. We got backers. All they got to do is transfer the money, boom, 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 and all this other stuff. So all this, and they weren't going to bang her. They just weren't. And they owed me, right? We're not talking about future money. They owed me.
Yeah, and the irony about that, with it being ECW, I mean, Extreme Championship Wrestling, you're getting busted open on a match per match basis. It was extreme. So I mean, you better pay me, right?
That's how I got to be good friends with Sunny and her husband.
Yeah,
that's how I started hearing the stories. Like, oh no, this guy makes this because he runs the merch, and this guy gets this, but all these guys are getting like $15 a match, $20 a match, $25 a match. And I'm thinking to myself, how are you guys doing this, right? I mean, they're stapling their heads and they're doing this, but the only people that he paid was like a Raven, and hell, I don't even know how much he was paying Dreamer. Dreamer had a percentage of the company, and he was the one running all the merch. But I think that he was making his money through the merch and the stuff, right? And Sabu, I don't know if Sabu got paid anything, necessarily. But
he got the scars for it. Yeah,
So I did. I just put my foot down, and I get a call, and they go, "You're not going to go if you're not caught up." I said, "No, I told you guys." Well, no, he'll have a check. I go, "I'm not." So they got me the money, and I called up and said, "Great," because I was supposed to go the week before, and they put me on so long. I said, "Fantastic." I said, "Just so you know, take it, do whatever you want with it. Pay your fucking guys."
Right.
I took the ticket that's in my name. I cashed it. I never went back. I just said I'm not going to do it because here's the issue, right? I don't know if it's right or wrong. This is all I know. How can I be around people that are laying their life down, literally laying their life down, putting up the ring? Man, sometimes these guys are stacking up 4, 5, 6 people in the same hotel room.
Wow.
I'm sitting there with a rental car by myself, drive, and I'm like, Now, I will tell you this: I don't take back any experience, and listen, this stuff is all over the place, right? These aren't new things. I'm just telling you, my mindset was, I can't be a part of it. Well, some of that started happening with Dusty's Federation. And it was kind of looked, and let's not talk federation, right? It was 8, 10, 20 people at a school that he got, and so it just got to where, finally one day, these guys that were supposed to make at least $15 a match or 20, and they're setting up the rings, weren't getting paid, Then one time something happened with my pay, and I just came in. I said, guys, and I laughed because I went in and I said, students, let me explain something to you, all you guys here. And I mean, there was Johnny Swinger was there and some other guys, some good talent.
Local guy here, Johnny Swinger, yeah.
Yeah, some good talent. I said, guys, never worry. The Dobbins brothers, these guys. I said, you guys have to look at things different than what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to do something to represent you all. To stand up because I don't have to be here. I got a paint company, I got a construction company. I mean, I got other things I'm doing, right?
Right.
And I said, so I'm in a position to stand up and shout, and hopefully it changes things. I said, and because I remember the guys were like, don't go. I said, you guys are missing it. Please don't miss this. Who is at the point to take the spot that's open? Please don't let him bring someone in. And they're like, well, how can you even think about that? I said, because I'm already gone. There's nothing that can stop me.
Right.
I mean, I got calls from other people that came from other people. And I said, no, I got made whole. And then I said, thank you for making, but no, that this is improper. So some people looked at me like, well, how could you do that? It is not about the person. It's not about the person. I love Dusty Rhodes. I've got hats of Last Stampede's hats that he made in camouflage. I got DSW. I've got shirts with the dang blood. I got 5, 10, 15 pieces of paraphernalia from there that anytime I wanted to, I could YouTube or sell or whatever you guys do with it. I'm sure I could get some great money for that merch. No, that federation was the epitome, and Dusty's vision was 100% right. Have a school, but be honest and take these kids on the road, put Dusty Rhodes and whoever on the damn show, and sell out. The difference was our difference of booking. I finally came to Dusty and said, Dusty, you're doing this wrong, brother. You're bringing people in on your name, and then you're only having 3, 4, 5 minute matches because physically you can't go more than that.
Yeah.
Or you'll bring in somebody like a Abdul the frickin' Butcher, and you guys are in a slice fest within a minute and a half, and you're going. And I said, and what you don't understand is we're going into these small towns. They already don't know 90% on the card.
Yeah.
I said, let's switch it. He goes, what do you mean switch it? I said, this is what I would like for you to do. And if you do this, I will make you more money than you've ever made, meaning with this concept. Not like that he's made. With this concept. He goes, tell me what you want me to do. I said, you're already promoting the fact that what you're doing is for the greater good of wrestling, and that you're going to start making some next generation athletes. And you're coming at it from a true, you're going to pay me to go to school. Within 6 weeks, you're going to have your first few matches, and I'm going to pay you to have some matches. You're still going to pay me. You're still going to be in my school. And as you graduate, blah, blah, blah. Incredible concept. I said, but here's the difference. I want every town that you promote, you are going to be the main event before intermission. He goes, what? I go, yeah. I said, then you can go a minute, 10 minutes. Then you can take your ass and you can sit in the ring and you can sign your autographs and you do all that. But this is what I ask you. Then we have a semi-main event and you announce the main event every night. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring so much to that. I am stamping this the main event. These are the futures of wrestling. DSW is all about doing the net. And he goes, I will never not be main event. I said, that's why I said you are the main event before intermission. Yeah, it went over like a fart in church.
Well, Eric, this is really cool for us to hear some of these stories and some of like the like some of the inside stuff, if you will, like for wrestling fans like us to hear these stories. Anytime you want to come back with us and there's so much we could ask you about. We'd love to have you back, come back on the show and talk some more wrestling stories with us, because we absolutely love it. To us, again, as wrestling fans, to hear this and to listen to these stories is really valuable to us. So just want to thank you so much for taking the time out and joining our podcast. We've only been doing this thing for about a year and a half or so as 3 fans that decided to put a podcast together, and to get the likes of yourself to join us is really an honor. And just want to thank you so much, man, for taking the time and sharing these stories with us. It's really cool.
You guys swim in good company. Chris, you're a stud. You are, and
we got to hear more about that great TNA career. So you got to come back.
Got to come back, yeah, man.
Chris, I got let me just shoot it the way it is. I do some podcasts, and not all of them are great, but all of them are meant to help promote wrestling, right? Because to me, wrestling can only promote so much. It's people that take the time to bring on different views, different angles, different eras, different thought processes.
Yep.
That sparks the interest of someone that may watch wrestling, may not watch wrestling, doesn't know about the past, doesn't know, and all the what I would call groundwork, right? That is what raises a nation or a fan base. Okay. And so it means a lot to me. And me and Chris have talked about a few things and a few views. I actually can give both sides of a lot of the views, because I'm not judging one way or the other. I go, you're 100% right, but let's look at it this way. And
right.
We can have very respectful commentary. Just like I am talking about, you're asking me about specific situations. I am giving you the raw data. But, you tell me the difference between Bischoff and Vince. everyone told me about what a shark fence was. Did you hear what I said? The guy
Right.
was awesome.
Yeah.
He told me I was going to be huge. He did not get along with my partner per se. He had to have him go. Then it was a time in which he was wanting to remake me, and it had nothing to do with it. God, yes, I wanted to be a WWE. God, yes. I could not afford, as I'm getting older, to lose any day, because as I'm hoping to have 300 matches a year, I'm trying to have 300 matches a year when I know most of these guys are having 200.
Yeah.
That in 5 years, I can do what they do in 7.5 years, because I got to catch up, right? So it was out of respect I did it. Vince understood it was out of respect. Eric Bischoff, I don't know. Dallas is a very good friend. I could ask Eric Bischoff what he thinks and doesn't think. And it's not that I don't care. I heard Eric Bischoff's one of the better podcasters, and that he draws big ratings. And I know my father thinks very little of him. But that came from I think he wanted to jab my father based on how he felt. And then my father, being very intelligent, goes, okay, well, do you want to look at numbers, really? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bad argument. And why do you want to beat a legend, right?
Yeah.
But I do believe he hates him. My point to you is, Dusty Rhodes, I absolutely love Dusty Rhodes. My father loves Dusty Rhodes. But I think I'm a lot like my father. Like my dad, if someone said, so how'd you like him as a booker, or how'd you like him as a talent? Oh, he's going to tell you everything awesome about him, but then he's going to say, hey, this is the weakness. Wait, what'd you ask me? Did you ask me to give you the whole? But you know what ends up happening? Sometimes people go, oh, Dusty Rhodes is gone. I wonder if Dustin hears what Erik says. Will he be upset? Listen, no one should be upset. I'm just stating the facts, because here's the other part. No one needs to know what I think about Dusty Rhodes, the pro wrestler, because that's said and done. He did all that. He's one of the greatest of all times.
Different
right?
perspectives. Yeah.
And so later on, you want to call one day and you guys want to talk about my dad going out and Mr. Graham calling my father and saying, hey, my territory is doing rough. Can you come? And my dad boxing up us kids in one night, taking us out of school, and said, my territory is crushing it, and moved our ass to Tampa Bay. And he puts us in these private schools, Catholic schools, and the nuns were tougher than my dad. I was so scared.
Yeah, we have experience with that, guys, right?
and the first day we get there, we go to this apartment complex, and here's us in a Lincoln Continental town car, and we're pulling up, and here's Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. Jeans on, boots, football, for the hottest looking women you've ever seen. And he said, Billy, hey, why don't you let the wife and the kids take care of this, baby? We got some football, if you will. And walking across the streets, throw football with these beautiful women. My dad's like, the Dream, you keep on going, baby. I got a family to take care of, right? And we can talk about Dick Murdoch and my dad or Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes and my dad, man. We can talk about some stuff that's hilarious when they bet on the Oklahoma-Texas game. And the one time my dad lost, I think it was for $1,000. Guys, you cannot go and just go to a bank and get $1,000 of pennies.
Right.
Ordered the $1,000 of pennies. Took a week to get them, and he shipped them to Dusty Rhodes' house. Now listen, when you get $1,000 worth of pennies, you can't just take them to a bank.
Right.
No, gotta roll those things up. Yeah.
So Chris, John, Charlie, you guys want me back, brother? Yeah. God bless, and we will. But let's
absolutely, sir.
That's all. I just want to let you know, the fans. When we're talking, we're talking out of love, and we're asking for true bits of time, and they were only my experiences, right? And all we are here to do is promote wrestling and tell the true behind the scenes and the forward scenes of what we see and how we feel. So we're all fans, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Erik, we will certainly be in contact to have you back, sir. My phone's dying, so we got to wrap up. So I apologize, but absolutely, we want to have you back, and we look forward to that, sir.
Yes, thank you so much, Erik. I appreciate your time.
See you guys.
Take care, Erik.
Take care. All right. Thank you again so much to Erik Watts. I know we went a little bit over, but man, it was worth it, because we hear those great inside stories of ECW and Dusty Rhodes, and absolutely we'll have Erik Watts back to talk about some Dusty Rhodes and Cowboy Bill Watts stories. I'm sure there's got to be some great stories.
So much there. We didn't even. That's that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg
We
today.
need part 2. We got to have part 2.
Part 2 with Erik Watts is
Get on
definitely
there, Chris.
in
Get
the
us back.
future.
Get them back.
No doubt. Well, guys, let's wrap up here again. I know we're a little bit over here, but we'll wrap up. And again, enjoy the weekend. And for everybody checking out our show, thank you so much on YouTube at Count Anywhere, on Twitter, the Friends Network on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. Go ahead and give us a like or a follow on the Falls Count Anywhere Facebook page, and that's where to mainly find us. And guys, thanks again for a great show.
Definitely. Thank you. Take
Take
care.
care, everybody.
All right, take care, guys.